Good morning, students. Welcome to the session on operating system. In our today's session, we are going to see one more methods to prevent your deadlocks. In the previous session, we have discussed about the deadlock avoidance, and before that, we have discussed about the deadlock prevention. In our today's session, we are going to discuss the deadlock detection. Sometimes, if we are not following the deadlock prevention and deadlock avoidance, it may lead to have the deadlock situations into your system. But after getting into the system, we will be following the algorithm in order to monitor whether we are getting the deadlocks or not. If you are not following the deadlock prevention, deadlock avoidance also, we should not say that you people will be getting the deadlock situations. It is not mandatory that always we will be getting the deadlock situations. Sometimes it may or it may not be related to that particular situation. Okay. And in an algorithm that can be monitor the state of the system to detect the occurrence of deadlocks, or else it recovers, it will be having the recovery system from where it will be getting the actual situation from the deadlock situation, I can say. Okay, and see, deadlock detection is a system containing a single instance of each resource type. Or else, simply I can say this deadlock detection, what it will do is it will detect the deadlocks. If there is any deadlock in your processes, then it will be detecting by the analyzation, I can say. Okay, deep analyzation, I can say. So consider you people will be having the resource allocation graph now. By using that also it can detect the error. Okay, or else it will be detecting the deadlocks. Okay, see here, you people will be having the resource allocation graph, and you people will be requesting for the resources. It will be allocated to you people, and from that what I will do is I will be having the wait for graph. I will be taking the wait for graph. When I am taking the wait for graph from your resource allocation graph, it should not have any cycles. If it is having the cycles, if it is depending on some other processes to complete, then it will be giving you the deadlock situation. Now let us try to understand that by the example. So consider this is your resource allocation graph. Here the P1 process is there, P1, P2, I hope it is clear to you people, okay? P3, P4 and P5. These are the processes that they have given, and R1 resource, R2 resource, R3 resource and R4 resource, R5 resource. We are having 5 processes, 5 resources. Now see, P1 is requesting for R1, P1 is requesting for R1, and R2 is given to P1, and R1 is given to P2 here, and P4 is given, P4 is requesting for R2, already R5 is given for P4, and P3 is requesting for R5, but R4 is given to P3. Okay. And see here in this way you can observe we are having a deadlock over here. Why? Because we are not having any clear idea. Why? Because every resource which is allocated to some other process is requested by some other processes. That is the reason clearly we can say we are having the deadlocks. But we can't say that we will be having the deadlock situation by seeing the resource allocation. Okay. Now I need to convert the this resource allocation graph into corresponding wait for graph. How I will be converting is, I will be removing the resources and I will be showing you the people which process is depending on the which process. See here, P1 is waiting for R1. Okay, R1 is given to P2. If P2 completes, then R1 will be released. Then that will be given to your P1. Okay, it will be executed. That is the reason. In case of your wait for graph, what I am doing is I am showing you people like this. P1 is waiting for P2. This is P2. P2. This is P1. I am showing you the request in this format. If P2 completes, then P1 will be completing. P1 is waiting for what? P2. And see, P2 is requesting for R4. R4, which is already assigned with what? P3. P2 is waiting for R4 and R4 is already given to P3. If P3 completes, then P2 will be completing its execution. So P2 is waiting for what? P3, and P3 is requesting for R5, which is assigned for P4. Which is assigned for what? P4, and P4 is requesting for R2. And if P4 will be completing the task, if R1 releases R2, then P3 is waiting for P4 and P4 is waiting, in turn it is waiting for P1. And also you see P5 is also a process which is already assigned with R3. And P2 is also requesting for what? P5. That is, if P5 execute itself, then R3 will be released and then R3 will be given to your P2. Then P2 is also waiting for what? P5. And again P2 in turn it is waiting for R5 also, which is already given to your P4. Then P2 is also waiting for what? Your P4. So here you can observe that we are forming a cycle in your wait for graph, so that clearly we can say deadlock situation is there in your processes. I can say in this way we will be detecting whether we are having any deadlock situation in our system or not by using the resource allocation graph. Or else simply I can say, when you are having a clear idea how many resources should be allocated, how many resources are requested, how many resources are available, then you people can detect the deadlock situation as we have done in the Banker's algorithm. Okay, this is how we will be detecting the deadlocks. Okay, this is very important to detect the deadlocks. Sometimes we may not have any idea about the prevention and avoidance, then the deadlocks will occur. In order to detect that, we will be performing all these things. I can say the usage of deadlock detection algorithm depends on the following factors, that is frequent occurrence of the deadlocks and effect of the deadlocks on the other processes. Okay, these are the two factors that we can say in order to use this particular data detection. How many times the deadlocks will occur and which processes will be get affected if we are getting the deadlock situation. Those should taken into the consideration in order to detect the deadlocks, in order to avoid the deadlocks, I can say, in order to complete the processes in an successful manner. Okay, so that it should not affect any other processes, it should not affect any resources, it should not damage, I can say. If the situation has been went to deadlocks, then deadlock recovery will be done. Deadlock recovery will be done by considering the two methods, I can say, that is process termination and resource preemption, I can say. Okay, the detected deadlocks in the system by making use of the deadlock detection algorithm need to be removed from the system by following some mechanism, I can say. Those mechanisms can be implemented by following these two terms, I can say, that is process termination and resource preemption. One is process termination. Now this process termination will do one thing, that every process that are present in the deadlock situation, they will be terminated. Okay, every process, all the processes. Say suppose in the previous example we are having 5 processes now. Those 5 processes will be terminated in order to begin it as a new one. Okay, so that it will be not depending on the other processes, but it will be leading us to a long starvation, I can say. Why? Because see, if a process which is got executed for a long time in the CPU, if it is terminated and if it is again started, then it will be taking so much of time in order to get executed. Okay, that will become a major problem. And the second issue, in order to overcome the issue in the first method, we will be terminating those processes which are making us to go for the deadlock situation. We will be terminating a few processes, I can say, few processes which will lead us to the deadlock. Okay, if it is not taking us to the deadlock, we will be executing those particular processes without disturbing it. Okay, that is what the methods that we are going to use in your process termination. And the second one that we are discussing is resource preemption. In this method, resources are deallocated or preempted from some processes. Those will be allocated to some other processes so that they will be executed. Okay, in this you need to follow this. What is the first session that you have to follow is selection of victim. Which process has to be preempted RS, which from which process we need to take out the resources, that has to be selected. That will become a difficult task. Okay, why? Because we need to analyze all the processes, which process is taking the resources, which process is not taking the resources, which process is making us to go for the deadlock situation. Those will be a typical task, I can say. Okay, and the next one that we are having is rollback. In this, we will be rolling back from all the processes to those processes which will be not leading us to the deadlock, I can say. Okay, rolling back is that the process which has preempted RS, which was preempted, cannot be continued normal execution because its resources are taken back. Sometimes, already I told you people in the previous case, that is process termination, we will be rolling back. We will be going for those processes which will be not leading us to the deadlock situation. In this, what we will do is, we will be taking the resources from the processes so that resources will be free in order to execute the other processes. That will be done by the rollback. And the last one is starvation. Starvation is nothing but what? Waiting for the long period of time. It is necessary to ensure when we are taking the resources, when we are preempting the processes, no process should wait for a long period. That is what should consider when we are recovering from the deadlock situations. Okay, this is how we will be using the deadlock detection and how we will be recovering from the deadlock, I can say. Okay, and how we will be using the deadlocks. Okay, and see, as per your academic syllabus, it is very important to learn deadlock recovery as well as deadlock detection, deadlock avoidance, deadlock prevention, I can say. Out of them, out of these three, deadlock avoidance, deadlock prevention and deadlock detection, out of three, you people may receive one question from one question for your academic syllabus. Okay, and it will be playing a key role in your competitive examinations if you are going for. Okay, this is the recovery method, I can say, recovery from your deadlocks, I can say. And by this we have completed our CPU scheduling when we are assigning the CPU to the processes. That's it for now. I hope it is clear to you people. See you in the next one. Thank you.